I must. I must. I must not increase my bust. Hello, so I wanted to take this few seconds in my intro and just try to highlight some things to help with all that's going on in the world with police brutality and Black Lives Matter, and here in Canada, the Black Lives and Indigenous Lives Matter, and any minority and all lives, of course. As a Canadian, I also want to be able to point out ways that we can help Black lives and Indigenous lives in Canada, and I'm going to do a little bit more research into that, and I'll have different videos and stuff up when I can. But in this really quick part of my intro, I just wanted to share from a video that my husband shared to my wall that he watches. Anyways, Facebook is choosing to be very slow at this moment because I'm looking for something very specific. Anyways, my husband follows this guy, and I can't remember his name, and I'm trying to look up the video, but my internet is not working, apparently. This guy talked about his experiences as a white man in America, his experiences with police, and how vastly different they are than the experiences with the Black lives. And the things that he got caught with when he was pulled over and was just given like a warning and let go kind of thing, and how terrible this is that he can get away with this stuff, but Black lives, Black men specifically, they are doing absolutely nothing. They're completely innocent, and they are shot, arrested, whatever the case may be. Or maybe they have done something illegal, but it's never anything worth getting killed over. He shared a thing about #8Can'tWait, and is a campaign to bring immediate change to the police department. So that's just what I want to show in my beginning clip here. And research shows more restrictive use of force policies can reduce killings by police and save lives. Tell your city to adopt all 8 of these policies. Ban chokeholds and strangleholds. Require de-escalation, require warning before shooting, requires exhaust all alternatives before shooting, duty to intervene, ban shooting at moving vehicles, require use of force continuum, and require comprehensive reporting. So anyways, I'll share this below. I'll share that guy's video down below as well. Thank you for doing all that you can to help support Black lives and any minority people in a minority where you live. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of my video about Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. So, I read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. And I read this in a day on on June 19th, the day before summer officially started, and now I'm reading Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. So Summer Sisters is the first book and only book of Judy Blume's I'd ever read, and so I picked up this one because I've just seen it around quite a bit and heard about it a lot, and I'll probably pick up more Judy Blume book in the future. But this book, in case you don't know, is about a girl named Margaret when she's like 11 and turning 12, so it follows her for like that year kind of thing. And it's a really short book. It's not even 200 pages. It's 149. And the words are pretty big and like spaced out and stuff like that, so it's easy. It's a really easy read. It's like a, well, 12-year-old book, like middle grade, preteen. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I could relate to some of the characters in it from back like when I was 12, 13 years old, 11, 12, 13. There is one character in here. Her name is Laura. I'm trying to think of what her last name is again. It's like Durkin or something like that. But I was like, I feel you, Laura. It's okay, Laura. It'll get better when you get older, kind of thing. A little bit. Anyways, so her name is Laura, and she is the big girl in class, and not big like overweight at all. She just has developed earlier than all the other girls. So she's big in that way, and I 100% relate to that. There's a scene near the end of the book in chapter 19 where they have to work on a class project together, and instead of picking their best friends, the teacher pairs them off with people. So Margaret gets paired off with Laura, and she's like, oh great, I'm stuck with this person. And they all like ostracize her and everything like that because they think she's so much more mature and out of their league kind of thing because she's developed. And there's rumors being spread about her going out with other boys and going like behind the convenience store and doing who knows what with them. But these are just rumors going around. No one's like actually talked to her or fact checked any of this stuff. Margaret brings that up, like, oh, about how you and Evan and Moose go behind the A&P, I said. What would I do that for? And then there's like this fight that breaks out, and then so Laura like takes off, and Margaret feels bad about it and chases her down. And she says, Margaret says to Laura, look, I told her, I'm not saying it's wrong to do those things. And she says, I think it's disgusting that you'll pick on me because I'm big, Laura said, sniffling. I wanted to tell her to blow her nose. I didn't mean to insult you, I said. You're the one who started it. Me, that's a good one. You think I'm such a great game to make fun of? You think it's such a great game to make fun of me, don't you? No, I said. Don't you think I know all about you and your friends? Do you think it's any fun to be the biggest kid in the class? I don't know, I said. I never thought about it. Well, try thinking about it. Think about how you'd feel if you had to wear a bra in 4th grade, and how everybody laughed, and how you always had to cross your arms in front of you, and about how the boys called you dirty names just because of how you looked. I thought about it. I'm sorry, Laura, I said. I'll bet. I really am. If you want to know the truth, well, I wish I looked more like you than like me. I'd gladly trade places with you. Now, I'm going to confession. She walked on, mumbling something about how the wrong ones always confessed. And so I thought that was really interesting how, like, Margaret is still small-chested and wants to grow, like, at that age. You know, you're 11, 12, 13, you're kind of, like, around puberty. Some of them have gotten their periods, some haven't, and it's a really tough age to be. But she's saying, like, I would trade places with you in a heartbeat. Like, I want what you have, and she wants, and Margaret wants what Laura has, and Laura wants what Margaret has, and I totally feel that and understand that, and I would gladly trade places with somebody else that way. But at the same time, I'm older now, like 20 years past 12, so you kind of learn to start accepting your body the way it is, or at least can do things to help change it, like exercise, diet. But there's also parts that are just genetic that you can't really change without surgery, and I have talked about getting surgery, and I want to get surgery for it, but it hasn't been the right time in my life yet. I could have got it done before I got married, and I chose not to. I could feel it just wasn't the right time, and then I wanted to be able to breastfeed my children. So I said for my 40th birthday, I would get a breast reduction, because my kids, like my youngest is 4 now, so he'd be 12. When I turned 40, he'd be about 12. So I wouldn't have to, like, it's a major surgery. You can't pick up anything over, like, 5 pounds. Like, you can't even pick up a newborn baby. My kids wouldn't need my constant attention. They'd be a lot more self-sufficient than they are now. And they're already starting to get pretty self-sufficient, but they'd be old enough. Like, my daughter is 8, so she'd be 16. So, like, old enough to babysit and everything like that. So then they could cook and whatever. So everyone's like, why would you wait till you're 40? Well, those reasons, but maybe it'll happen sooner than later. I don't know when the timing is right, if it'll happen at all. I feel like I gotta lose like 50 pounds though, so at least I'll be proportionate, because I gain all my weight in my stomach like first and lose it in my legs first, so I'd have to lose like 50 pounds in order to lose weight in my breasts. But yeah, I totally felt for Laura in this book, and she doesn't even play a big part in this book. She's a side character. She is not a friend to these people, to like Margaret and her group of friends, but I definitely related to Margaret more. She moves. It starts with her. They've moved to this new town, so she makes these new friends, and this girl comes, Nancy, comes and like knocks on her door, and she's like, hi, I'm Nancy, come play with me, kind of thing. It's so easy to make friends when you're a kid. Like, when I moved into our neighborhood, why didn't I just go knock on doors and be like, hi, I'm Becky, want to be my friend? Let's go have a pool party. Like, it's so much easier when you're 12 apparently, but also so hard. And there's like that group of friends, and Nancy just makes herself to seem so much more like mature, and she knows everything, and she's the boss, and we all know that person. We've all seen it in those movies and everything like that. And then so I related more to Margaret as being like the quiet one who doesn't like speak up as much and kind of allows other people to take the lead in those situations. Like the other kids would like feel embarrassed because Margaret or Nancy would say like she knows how to do this, when the other kids would be like, I don't know how to do that yet. And another thing, I forgot to look it up, but they get their periods in this book, and they're talking because Margaret kind of chooses to go and figure it out with a friend of hers, not Nancy but another one, and they have to get like the pads and stuff. But apparently back then you had to wear like some kind of belt, and then you put the pad like in it and then like attach the belt to yourself, and it seems like really complicated, and I'm glad that we don't have to do that now. This book was published in 1970, so if anyone knows how to deal with periods in 1970, you can explain the belt to me. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this story because I could relate to the characters from that time, and it reminded me of that time and just going through puberty and developing and all the questions that you have and the turmoil that you're going through, but also you're still kind of innocent and old enough to go off and explore on your own and like play with your friends and not have your parents like hovering over you all the time, but still young enough to be pretty innocent. But it's also kind of a loss of innocence as well, which is kind of sad, and I don't want to think about that with my kids. So they have their boy books, so they have to write down the name of the boys that they like in order, and they're supposed to change it, and 3 out of the 4 of them all just choose the one cute boy in school, and it's like, I don't even know if I like him. He's just the nicest looking boy, but like who knows what his personality's like, right? So it's called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. So you'll see like she prays, and she'll have little prayers like, Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. I just told my mother I want a bra. Please help me grow, God. You know where. I want to be like everyone else. You know, God. My friends all belong to the Y, so like the YMCA, or the Jewish Community Center. Which way am I supposed to go? I don't know. What do you want me to do about that? So I grew up in a non-religious home. I'd say like agnostic. My parents weren't like atheist, like outright against God or religion or anything like that, and they were not religious either. They didn't follow any sort of religion, and they didn't take us to church or anything like that. I went to church several times with friends, and then when I was 19 and started dating my now husband, went to church with him and became a Christian eventually through that. But so I grew up in a very like neutral home. No, they didn't talk against God, didn't talk for God. So I kind of liked reading her story as a 11, 12-year-old and going through those changes of puberty and praying that God would give her breasts or her period or to help her be like this or that. And then she also has the struggle of feeling like she has to pick a religion because her parents do not follow anything either, but her mom is Jewish and her dad is like from a Catholic family or something, but they chose to like get married and just like forget about religion and say like if Margaret wants to be anything, she can choose her religion. And then her teacher is new. It's his very first year teaching, so he gives them a personal project that they have to do, and it's going to be just between them and the teacher. No one else is going to read it, anything like that. And so her personal project is deciding, she's like, okay, by the time I turn 12, I'm going to decide what religion I am. And so she goes to temple with her grandma, and her grandma's like so excited, and she's like, I knew you were Jewish all along, because she's so upset about like the parents. His mom is Jewish, her parents are Catholic, her mom's parents are Catholic, his mom is Jewish, and so she's like, I knew you were Jewish all along, and blah blah blah. And so she's like super excited about it, and she's like, no grandma, I just want to go to temple. I just want to like explore. So she's like, okay, God, I'm going to temple. I'm looking for you while I'm here. And I really like that, like being open-minded and saying like, okay, God, I am looking for you, because the Bible says like, look, seek and you will find, right? Knock and the door will be opened. Ask and it will be like answered, kind of thing. So I really like that she's like openly saying, okay, God, I'm here and I'm looking for you. Where are you? So she has like an open mind about it. So she goes to temple and she's like, that was nice, whatever, didn't see God there. And then her friend is Catholic, so so she goes to some Catholic like mass, I think at Christmas time, and same thing, like, okay, God, I looked for you in the temple, now I'm looking for you here. And it was nice, and kind of the similarities in the style of worship and stuff between the temple and the mass. But she was still like, okay, God, I don't know where I fit in, I don't see you there either. And like she said, talking about going to the YMCA or the Jewish Community Center, like all her friends either go to the Y, the Christian Association, or the Jewish Center. So she's like, well, which one do I belong to? I'm not Jewish or Christian. And then near the end of the book, she gets mad at God and is like, that's it, I don't see you, I'm not talking to you anymore, that's enough, kind of thing. And just decides that she's nothing, and kind of like God doesn't exist. And then she kind of has that struggle because she talks to God every single day, and then she's like, that's it, you don't listen to me, you're not there, I'm not talking to you. And then she keeps talking about like going to talk to God and be like, oh yeah, right, I'm not talking to you. Like, she's mad at him. And then at the very end, it ends with her like talking to God again, because she writes her personal story, and it's kind of like, I'm not anything, I didn't pick a religion, I'm just basically agnostic, not atheist, thinking there is no God, but not anything either. And then at the very end, she's like talking to God again. She's like, okay, God, like, I'm back, I want to talk to you. So I just kind of thought it was really neat. She didn't come to any specific conclusions, she just talked to God in her head, and she didn't have like this idea of like the Jewish like is right or the Catholic way is right or anything in between those two. She just was like, I just want to talk to God, and that's it, that's all she cared about. So I really liked that idea, that she wasn't like stuck in some kind of structure. And yes, I'm a Christian, I consider myself a Christian, I go to a Christian church, I go to like an evangelical, it's an alliance church, but kind of more evangelical, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know anything about denominations. I didn't understand what alliance was, or what like Pentecostal was, or Baptist, or anything like that. I never understood that stuff. Like I said, I didn't grow up in the church, so none of that stuff meant anything to me. And the church we went to was pretty open and rock band. It wasn't the traditional, more Catholic style where you like stand up and you repeat these words and you sit down, you kneel to pray, you do this, you do that. We had people, they would do like altar calls, and you'd go up to the front, you'd get prayed for. There's people like falling down in the spirit, like kind of wild and crazy. And if you went, you'd probably be scared of it, kind of thing, going in with no knowledge of what's happening. You're like, why are people falling over? I need to get out of here. But that's the kind of church that I went to where I became a Christian. And the church I go to now is kind of similar, with like the more rock, more modern music, you know, lots of guitars, drums, keyboards, all that stuff. But we don't have like the traditional altar call where people are going up. They have a prayer team up there that will pray for you, but people aren't just like falling over in the spirit. It's a little bit more calmed down that way, a little bit more conservative, but I really like it. And like I said, growing up, I went to like Catholic services once in a while with friends, and we had neighbors that were Catholics, and I went with them and stuff like that, but it never really meant anything to me as a kid. I didn't understand what they were saying. Even when I started going at like 19, 20 years old, I was bored stiff. I was like, the music lasts forever, all they do is sing for like the longest time ever, and then the preaching wasn't good or bad, it just didn't mean anything to me. I don't know where I'm going with this, but just like, I didn't understand the denominations or anything like that either. So I just kind of liked her exploration of religion, and that her parents, like, now as a Christian, I teach my kids the Christian way, but I'm also not gonna like force them to be Christians or whatever, and I want them to have the freedom to be able to choose for themselves as well. But of course, I do teach them about God and stuff from my own understanding, and they go to Sunday school like at the church and whatever. But I like that her parents, because they were Catholic and Jewish, they weren't like, you have to go to temple, you were Jewish, you have to have the bar mitzvah and all that stuff. Or they weren't like Catholic and being like, you have to go to confessional and you have to do this or that. They allowed her that freedom to choose and explore. And I think the only difference, like, she was doing it on her own, and I think like with my kids, I'd want to give them a little bit more guidance, like, okay, let's go to the temple and talk to the rabbi and stuff, and you can go to the Catholic church and talk to a priest, and let's go to our pastor and talk to the youth pastor, and like, let's take out books at the library, and like, think of your questions that you would want to ask God, and pray and ask those questions, and ask, like, if you're struggling with a question, go and ask the pastor, go and ask the priest, go and ask the temple, the rabbi, you know, do that kind of stuff, and maybe like kind of guide it a little bit more. But just as a book, Judy Blume, when she writes from this and Summer Sisters, the parents aren't exactly the most involved people in the world. It's more like they're just discovering themselves on their own. Anyways, I really, really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really fun, and I would definitely recommend it, and for 12-year-olds. But yeah, I would probably allow my kids to read it when they're that age, for sure. the little blurb on the back, like a little thing, says, with sensitivity and humor, Judy Blume has captured the joys, fears, and uncertainty that surround a young girl approaching adolescence. The funny, gay, and genuine book should appeal very much to about-to-be teenage girls who are worried about things. Its refreshing naturalness will take a load off their minds. Yeah, I really liked it, and I'm glad I read it, and I'll definitely look into more Judy Blume after I've done Summer Sisters. So this is my not-so-short review on Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret, and my sympathies to Laura Durkin, or what? Draken or something her name is, and being part of the big boob community. It's okay, Laura, I feel you. You'll survive, and I'm sorry that people treat you the way they treat you. And like she said, that really kind of hit home when she was like, I'm being made fun of and I'm being teased because of the body I was born into, and there's nothing I can do about it. And it's so true, and something that's happening still to this day, and especially with all this stuff in the media about like Black Lives Matter. Like, we don't choose what color our skin is, we don't choose what our parents religious background is, we don't choose what our ethnicity is, we don't choose where we're born, and we don't choose what our body shapes are. Like I said, I gain weight easily, and I gain it in my stomach, and that's frustrating, and I feel like I look like I'm 8 months pregnant all the time. And I lose my weight in my legs, which is like the smallest part of me, my legs and my arms, and I have very large breasts. I'm just gonna come out and say it in case you haven't noticed, but I can't choose that. I dyed my hair, I chose the color of my hair, it's naturally curly, I didn't choose that. Like, that's it, I chose the color of my hair, I chose what I'm wearing today. Like, I can't choose the body I'm in though. So we need to learn to accept our bodies and have body positivity for us and our children. And even if you're not a mom or a dad, you might have nieces or nephews in your life, or younger cousins, or just whatever, your friends have kids. We need to learn how to be a positive and uplifting example to them about our bodies, and do what we can to be healthy. Some people are just naturally bigger. They're bigger boned, they're taller, they're whatever. They gain weight easily. Some people have thyroid problems, other medical conditions, whatever it is. But we should focus on health versus a certain number on the scale, or like waistband kind of thing. We shouldn't be looking at numbers so much, but just our health. Like, I know I need to go on a diet that targets my gut health, because a lot of times I feel nauseous all the time. That's not fun. And I'll have like IBS symptoms, and that's not fun, and I just feel sick a lot, and I need to focus on health that is going to help me feel good physically, and not worry so much about the outward appearance, and trust that when I eat a healthy diet and I'm getting a right amount of sleep and exercise and drinking enough water, because I don't drink enough water, then the outward appearance will adjust. Like, I will lose weight if I follow the proper diet and I'm eating properly, and I'm watching like how much sugar intake I'm having and stuff like that. My outward appearance will adjust, but I'll never be like super duper skinny size like zero jeans. I'm never gonna be that. And naturally I could lose 50 pounds. I'm not gonna go to like a B cup losing 50 pounds. I'll lose some weight, and I lost about 30 pounds a couple years ago, and my bra size did go down. And I remember going into the shop to get a new bra, and I was like, I stopped breastfeeding 2 years ago and lost 30 pounds. I need a new bra. Like, I lost some weight there, but I was still quite large. So I just need to accept that. And like I said, there's things I can do like surgery, but it's also a major surgery and not something everyone just wants to run out and do, right? And for us in Canada, that surgery is covered financially by the government. It is considered a medical procedure and not cosmetic. So thankfully, because I have so many back problems, and I remember that's something else I wanted to talk about like breast size, and also like just if you're a larger child, especially a child, and even as an adult, like I'm not quite into the plus sizes yet, but I would go shopping with my mom, and I would leave the store just in tears, crying. And it wasn't bra shopping, it was shopping for clothes. because I am not a really big person. Like I said, some people are big boned. I'm not like the biggest, like I don't have these huge wide shoulders necessarily. I need like extra large shirts to fit over my breasts, but then they're like, the straps are so loose. Like this is an extra large top. This is a large tank top, and my straps are always I'm constantly pulling my straps up all the time, because if I lost the weight and I ate properly, I would be closer to a medium everywhere else, but an extra large in the breast department. And I know because I lost that 30 pounds and I was fitting into like, if it's stretchy, I would fit into like a medium. So that's really, really difficult. And so if you're out there and you're having a hard time shopping, I'm sorry. It's so hard. And you know what? We can't always afford to go to these special places, but like even plus size clothes for me, like people are like, oh, shop here, shop there. Like I'm like, I need to find a bra, and Victoria's Secret ain't gonna have it. La Senza's not gonna have it. And people are like, oh, go shop at like a de Chanel, because they're a plus size company. They're like 2 bra cup sizes like short of where I need to be, of like where I am. They're like a cup. I think they're 1 size too small for me. And that's a plus size, like they specialize in plus size clothes. So yeah, it's frustrating. And I've spent over $100 on one bra before. And now I have found the Goddess bras that I buy. They fit, they're comfortable, and they're $60. So those are my cheap bras. Those are my cheap, like what you would go to Walmart or La Senza and buy like 3 bras for $45. Like that's my equivalent, is $60. But I have easily spent $120 on one bra before. So that's extremely frustrating. And I'm not rich. I didn't grow up rich or anything like that, but it's a necessity too. So that's kind of frustrating. Insurance, medical insurance should cover bras. Like I see the meme, it's like, I didn't choose the boob life, the boob life chose me. Amen. Amen. I did not choose this life. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about boobs. I'm gonna be amazing, drink my water, and go inside and see what's up, what's going on in there. So thank you for watching, listening to my rant about big boobs and being a 12-year-old, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.